Hey guys, it's Enwa and welcome to a highly requested video. So today I will be finally reviewing and sharing my experience with the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League by Rocksteady. So before we get into it, I just want to let you know that I have live streamed my whole experience. I know by the time this comes out, season 1 will already be out and I might live stream it, I don't know. But if you do want to watch all like the 4 hours to 6 hour sessions, then I will link the VOD playlist down below. But I will be breaking down all of those VODs into 20-minute to 30-minute videos for you to enjoy. So without further ado, let's get started and let me know if you agree, disagree, or have other views that you want to share. Yeah, let's go. Alrighty, let's start off with something that I was most interested in, and this was the story. Leading into this game, I have had many big questions of how Rocksteady has created a bridge from Arkham Knight to Suicide Squad. You know, these characters that we've seen before multiple times over the past few years, how they've been added back into the game or how they have changed. And I don't have great news. So the general idea of the story is okay. However, how it was executed was clearly something that Rocksteady did not prioritize this time round. You know, the title quite literally tells you what the player will be doing. You will be killing the Justice League. You know, there's no sort of build up. You are straight into the action of you will be killing the Justice League. You know, I think about an hour and a half in, you are already going to be killing one of them already. There is just a lack of build up. So, you know, you start off seeing each character being recruited, which was really, really nice to see. You know, the way that they bounced off one another was really, really nice. And I appreciate the time that was put into the voice acting and body language. But yeah, the setup was just not there. You know, it felt really rushed, very unimportant. You know, especially the fact of you will be killing the Justice League. This is one of the biggest parts of the DC universe, and there was just nothing. There was no sort of kind of lead up whatsoever. I am taking into account that the story is not fully yet complete. By the time that this video is out, you know, season 1 has already been released. So I understand there are 12 more Brainiacs that are needed to be defeated. And I guess they can bring some more plot twists in. You know, the story is not yet complete. I have seen many theories and speculations about how the Justice League villains are clones. I guess this could explain this clip right here.
Okay, Boomerang.
I need to tell you something, but I need you to listen. Right now, I want you to count how many fingers the Flash has. Okay? Count how many fingers he has. Bearing in mind, Boomer cut one off. Remember that. Count how many fingers he has.
You want to see what a real hero can do?
That's crazy, that's 10.
I'll show you.
He's got 10 fingers. I think it just grew back on. Unless they forgot about it, and this is just poor writing. But the cloning theory does definitely fit this, but I don't know. We'll come back to it. Starting off with the main playable characters. Please bear in mind, I am a Boomer main, so my views may or may not be biased. So overall, the chemistry is fantastic. You know, from subtle voice lines, facial expressions, and the full cutscenes are incredibly done. You can definitely tell that the majority of these members are nutcases. They do not take this mission seriously, and as soon as they are in Metropolis, nothing changes. They are still absolute nutcases, and it is lovely to see and be a part of. Deadshot's character was a really nice addition to the Suicide Squad. You know, he is more reserved, more calm towards each situation, and he balances out each member nicely. Now, although I didn't choose to play his character, I did decide to look at his recruitment. He had audios from Amanda Waller, so this is what was said.
Deadshot.
Huh. Not gonna ask if I'm the real one. Tight ship you're running, Waller.
All I need is a killer, Lawton. A professional. And I know one when I'm looking at him. Now, you were out of the game for a long time. Could have made a clean break. Why didn't you?
I had to protect something. Something important to me.
Your rep?
My kid.
Zoe. Sure. If you want to see her again, I expect you to stay on mission.
So point me at who needs shooting and let's get it over with.
Well, I'm glad we understand each other.
Yeah, that's what was stated about Deadshot's background. And then you also have this.
Were you able to eliminate the opposing Deadshot?
It wasn't easy. Shouldn't have been, considering. But I'm 99% sure I'm the last Deadshot standing. On this Earth, at least. I need answers, Luther.
We're all seeking answers, Lawton. It's our species' great folly.
There was another Deadshot out there. Would have been my exact damn match, down to the trigger finger. If he wasn't a white dude.
How curious.
That's the thing, Lex. After everything we've seen, there's zero doubt in my mind. He was me. But from somewhere else. Another Earth. First time you saw me, you recognized my getup. And I've been meaning to ask, what did happen to your Deadshot?
So it's been heavily supported that when Deadshot had his daughter, he stopped his time to focus on her. But it still leaves this other question on how this Arkham Origins and Arkham City Deadshot was on par of skill and had the greatest detective fooled by his presence. You know, there have been players that haven't dived into the lore and audio tapes, where Deadshot does question the Arkham Origins and Arkham City Deadshot, and suggests that he was from Earth 2. Take it as you will. Moving on to Harley, it is pretty much the same deal. You know, she will mention Joker has her ex, and then her background is not at all explored from her Arkham journey. You know, I really do hope that her story becomes some sort of DLC, because I really was invested to see what she got up to within the past 5 years, and I wanted to see how her demeanor changed since she was literally a different person to now. You know, I feel like her character is really lacking, and it might as well just be completely disconnected from the Arkham trilogy. Now, another thing to add is her interaction with Ivy. Now, it was definitely questionable and it was sweet, but I'm only nitpicking this because of the Arkham continuity. Now, from the Arkham trilogy, and with all the game cutscenes we've seen and whatnot, they both interacted with each other twice. Once in Arkham Asylum and once in Arkham Knight. And you could count the third time from the concept art, which was in pre-Arkham Knight when they discussed Scarecrow's plans. But yeah, I don't really understand the hype behind it. You know, within this universe, it was more Selina and Ivy, but it just felt weird of how Harley was acting, and she just didn't seem like the same person. King Shark, what a little cutie. He is not too dumb and not too smart. His traversal is very fluid than I expected. I had a less stressful time with the Riddler AR challenges. When Boomer wasn't doing what I wanted it to do, I'd switch to King Shark and things felt a little bit more at ease. Now, the only questionable moment I did have with him was his Green Lantern scene. You know, it was spectacular, but it just didn't make sense behind all the lore of having a lantern ring. And it may support an idea that they aren't the real Justice League, but it just felt a bit weird. It didn't make much sense, but overall I think King Shark was a really nice character to play when I did, and I do recommend playing him. Although I hope in the future they do add Aquaman so King Shark can have his little moment, much like this conversation here.
What's Aquaman like?
Why does everyone talk about the Atlantean? He talks to my fellow sea creatures. It's some kind of wonder. Meanwhile, I talk to you surface dwellers all the time, and no one makes a big deal about that.
Hey, if it makes you feel better, Shark, you're one of the weirdest damn things I've ever seen.
Thank you.
Last but not least is Captain Boomerang, the love of my life, a gorgeous man of many interesting talents. I will most definitely be biased with him, as he's been the only one that I have played throughout my playthrough. But starting off, his combat is lovely. It has such a nice rhythm, and if you're more interested in running and gunning, this is your man. His character is absolutely hilarious, and there are so many moments in the story that he just steals the spotlight. I mean, yoinking an ice cream truck when Superman is punching the life out of Wonder Woman, it's perfect. You know, his chemistry with the Flash was also really well done, and I have to tip my hat to Rocksteady because they did a great job with their villains and interacting with their nemesis. Now, the rest of the league were underwhelming, mainly due to the lack of screen time. But when I say that you are killing them straight away, you are killing them straight away. Now, the chemistry given about the Justice League and the audio tapes is not bad, actually. You know, I do recommend that you should spend the time to listen to them, but I am surprised that they didn't make these into cutscenes. There was a lot of wasted potential with the Justice League setup before Brainiac took over. Whether it was a flashback or such, the relationship of each member does show in these tapes, but I can question if a casual player would stop and listen to them. I would also like to question why Superman's vote to go see Brainiac went above 4 to decline the negotiation. You know, if I was Batman during this time, I would have just gone to Gotham and not looked back.
This Brainiac wants to open negotiations aboard his ship. It's a trap.
Agreed. That much is apparent.
I hear you both, but we have to go in good faith. What if I had come to Earth and...
Cal, buddy, I mean, let's be real. You didn't show up in a giant skull.
I didn't choose how I got here, Flash. Now, I'll admit it's not the most inviting presence, but if we can avoid fighting altogether, we owe it to the people of Metropolis to try. They know the strength of the League, everyone does. Now let's show them our heart, our compassion.
Our recklessness. We can't just leave Metropolis undefended.
We'll be in the thick of it, Bruce. Talks get nasty, we toss that thing right back into space.
We're in this together, gang. The 5 of us united, there's nothing we can't do. Let's show them our intentions.
You know what they say about good intentions, Clark.
Kal-El, surely you understand the gravity of what I'm offering. You could have Krypton again. A new Krypton, built in your image.
Listen to me, Brainiac, you're right. I do understand the pain of losing a planet. But what you're doing, this isn't the way to get Kolu back.
How wonderfully droll. And you, John Stewart, isn't your oath to bring order to the universe?
Let me tell you about my oath. It says, no evil shall escape my sight.
Whatever happened in those other universes, Brainiac, you won't have this one! Barry, now!
Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail about the support squad. They are an interesting bunch, but they did not maintain my attention. You know, their side missions are, again, copy and pasted. I would have thought that they would have spiced things up a few missions, but no. The only plausible continuity was Penguin. I'm glad they kept North Refrigeration into Metropolis, but his character development is the only one I can back behind. Now, I will acknowledge that this game is not a Batman-based narrative. However, the absence and small details of the Bat family was disappointing. You know, I would like to assume that they are still alive and still doing whatever they want, but by the sounds of Batman's hologram recording, him and Jason are not on good terms, and Bruce's transition from the Justice League created a slight distance between him and Alfred. And then Tim? Is he still alive? What happened? You know, what have they done? What have they done to Tim Drake? It just doesn't make sense, and it was just not necessary. Starting off with the Flash, he is most definitely the fastest man alive. The way that Rocksteady approached this boss fight to make it fair for the player was well done. However, as the battle began to continue, it felt slightly sluggish and just a running fest from tornadoes and multiple flashes. Although I can understand that they couldn't really do much with this, but the attempt was made and I guess all we can do is appreciate it. Green Lantern's fight was personally the most unique and interesting fight. He would occasionally summon turrets, bombs, and other bits and bobs for the player to counter, dodge, or destroy. Now, despite having quite a good PC, I did experience some performance issues that did show due to the high levels of maintenance within the boss area. I found that I did drop FPS from time to time, but overall, I was still able to defeat Green Lantern. Batman's portrayal was very good throughout the game, from watching you around Metropolis to the Demon Bat making an appearance. The setup of the fight was really nice. The idea of using the fear toxin was just perfection, and the references to the voice changer and the gel blast was just really nice to see. But after that, it just went downhill. His fight was just lacking. You would just dodge a few swipes, maybe a bat ball or two, and just hit in exactly the same place until the game suggested somewhere else. I can agree that Batman was completely wasted in this game, and I would have hoped for more, as his iteration as a mind-controlled Batman was amazing, and Kevin Conroy did a brilliant job. Superman's battle was not bad, but just incredibly underwhelming. This fight was very much a dodge and counter, much like the Flash, with his clones and tornadoes. However, you have to make sure to keep your golden kryptonite bar up in order to do high damage, and it's basically a rinse and repeat until it's over. I am really surprised there was no unique phases which shifted the mechanic that would have made Superman stand out. You know, something maybe like Ra's al Ghul or Mr. Freeze in Arkham City. However, I appreciate the attempt that they made to let players defeat the Man of Steel, although I hope we had more. To finish off with Brainiac. He takes the form of our Justice League members and the player has to fight a copy and pasted Flash. I understand the thought behind it due to the multiple Brainiacs, but from this perspective, the long-term attraction for this fight fades very quickly. It's just repetitive mechanics, exactly the same thing that you have done before, and sometimes you can get lucky to have Brainiac glitch out of the map for him to just stand still and be able to shoot at. I was quite disappointed. I think multiple players were as well. And I just hope that there is some sort of improvement in the future. Maybe the last Brainiac is different. I'm not sure. It's just, if this is the case, it's just not going to be a long-term interest of mine. The gameplay is very solid. The time and the dedication has definitely been put into this section, as traversing and fighting are entertaining throughout the story, and it is very enjoyable. The talents, afflictions are good additions to drive the player to create builds and best counter enemies. Now, speaking from experience, I have not dived too deep into the builds and setups, however, the possibility is very much there. Now, once the story has been completed, which it isn't long, it's roughly 10 hours if you play with one character, you are in complete freedom to do any free roam and endgame stuff. Well, the 3 repeatable missions that you can grind so you can tick off a list of infamous level gear of weapons that you won't use except of one. I just don't want to ramble about the time between finishing the story and waiting for new content, but overall it was just dull and repetitive. Personally, it was fine at the start, but as time went on, I was just begging for new content. I was fortunate enough to play with some viewers during my experience. This was during the endgame missions. This was a nice change and piqued my interest more in doing long repetitive sessions with others than doing it solo. In early days of release, I experienced servers were fairly sluggish, players needed to relog, and there was times that lag was just unbearable. However, other than that, I felt over time things started to become more smooth. I would have expected a game that is fully centered in a live service to put full commitment towards removing bugs to ensure players would have the best experience in multiplayer, rather than having multiple issues like this. Some additional things that I wanted to include is the customization options are unlockable through Twitch drops, the Riddler AR challenges, or the shop. This adds an extra hairstyle, either a color swatch or a different outfit for your character. There are some options that I'm really fond of, and by the looks of it, the ability to unlock a golden swatch is also a really nice option. But my improvements would just be to allow customized colorization. I would have loved to have free choosing of my colors or be able to mix different outfits together to make my character look more unique. I feel like there's not enough range in characterization, and it just makes everyone look the exact same. Now, is this game really worth getting? Most certainly not at the current price and the lack of in-game content that Rocksteady has to offer. By the time this video is out, episode 2 of the Suicide Squad has been released, and it's such a shame to say that little to nothing new or unique has been added. It has left a point that players are starving for any kind of content, and the hate for the game is just continuing to grow. If you are interested in repetitive gameplay and grinding levels or weapons, then sure, knock yourself out. But for casual players who showed interest or people who are die-hard Arkhamverse fans, this is most definitely worth waiting for in a sale rather than wasting 60 to 90 quid. Now that is everything that I wanted to cover for today. Let me know if you agree, disagree, or want to share your thoughts in the comments below. Although I had a fantastic time to start off with, I am looking forward to any story progression, new characters, and unique content in the future. And I hope this will change my initial thoughts on the game. My name is Enwa, and thank you so much for watching. Goodbye!